everybody, and welcome to another weekly update from myself, Sarah Lean. This has been a really busy week for me personally, and I've got a ton of Azure news to tell you. So I do have notes on what I want to talk about and some of the features, so bear with me if I'm reading off my screen just to remind me what's happening. But let's dive into the Azure news. So this week, the Azure Backup team released a new preview feature, and that's a preview feature that allows you to restore your Azure virtual machines to another region. So you can restore your virtual machines into a secondary region that you haven't been backing them up into. And that's going to be useful for customers who maybe want to work through a disaster recovery process in a second region, or if they want to deal with any outages that the Azure region that they're currently running their virtual machines in has, and try and use another region to mitigate those issues. So that's a preview feature. Please do check it out and let us know if you have any feedback from it, any questions, any functionality improvements. It'd be great to hear about that as well. The second bit of news is also from the Azure Backup team, and that's around snapshot management for your Azure files. I know when I was running infrastructure and looking after file servers and such, having snapshot management was great for doing those quick restores or finding files that people had moved around or lost, and being able to just have a look at the snapshot and restore those files really quickly without doing that full recovery from backup was super useful. And that feature is now there within Azure as well. So you can use Azure Backup to help you do the exact same thing. So you can do your restores, you can find files. It's all through Azure Backup again, and that's generally available now. So that's fully functional, fully supported for production workloads. So again, check it out, have a play, and let us know if there's any feedback on that as well. The other bit of news is that generally available, we've got maintenance control for certain platforms. So if you're running Azure dedicated hosts or isolated virtual machines within Azure, you now have the ability to control host updates or rebootless updates for a 35-day window. So again, that's another functionality for people who are running those dedicated hosts or isolated virtual machines, and they can start to have a bit more control over that environment. The last bit of news I want to talk about is in Azure App. In the Azure App Service, we now have support for GitHub Actions. So if you're looking to deploy from your GitHub action, that GitHub action workflow that you've created, you now have the ability to use that within Azure Update. It's now within the portal. It is a preview feature, so again, please have a play with it. Let us know what your thoughts are. Any bugs or any functionality or any questions, do reach out to us and let us know what you think about that. Now, as I said, this has been a fairly busy week for myself. The first thing that I did was actually I co-authored a blog post that's now released about the discovery phase of a data center migration. Now, I've been talking to customers for a good number of years now around data center migrations from on-prem up into Azure, and everybody has a different view of what that discovery phase of the project, which is the first phase of your project, looks like. So I've had a wee go at trying to define that, trying to explain some of the outcomes that you should be looking for within your discovery phase, some of the tools you can use, and just share some of my thoughts around that due to the experience that I've had. So I'll put a link in the description, but do check that out and let me know. And if there's anything that you think I've missed or any feedback on that, again, please let us know. Now, this week also saw me run the Glasgow Azure User Group, hence the kind of banner at the back here. We were due to meet this month, or in April, sorry, because this is now May, in April in an in-person event. That would have been our 18th meeting in person, but obviously with the way things are with COVID-19 and the lockdown status that we have down here in Scotland, we couldn't do an in-person event. So we transformed it into a virtual event and we hosted a Microsoft Teams meeting. I think we had about a peak of 43 people at the event, so super thankful to everybody that came along and supported that event. Also thank you to Gary, who who spoke about Azure Sentinel. Really appreciate that. That was a really good and useful thing. Also, the sponsors that are still supporting us, Haze, Servent, F5 and Incremental Group. We also had Squared Up, who were supporting the quiz prize. So we ran a quiz at the end of the event, and Nathan won a fancy Lego set. So that's amazing. And they also have a free trial of their software running at the moment as well, which also can enter you into a Lego prize as well. So it was really good to run that event. I had spent quite a bit of time trying to get the team set up so that it was fairly easy for everybody just to join. And I think I only had one person reach out to me and say that they couldn't join or had initial issues that we actually worked through and got them in eventually. So I think it went okay. I have been sharing some of my thoughts on running Teams events and videos and how I do some things. So they are available as well on my YouTube channel, and I'm hoping to kind of write a blog post about the whole experience, about how I've transformed the event from an in-person event into a virtual event. We got some really good feedback as well from everybody. I wasn't sure what time to run the event. Typically when we run an event in person, we run it probably about 6:30ish with a start. That just gives everybody time to finish work, get to the venue, etc. And I did the exact same for the virtual event. Wasn't sure if that was the right time to be running it. Wasn't sure if people wanted it earlier, later. One of the feedback questions that we asked people to say was what time would they prefer. It's looking at the moment like the 6:30 kind of kickoff is the start time that people want to aim for. Second in the line was the 6 p.m. kind of kickoff, so it probably looks like that'll probably be the format that we'll do if we do another virtual event. Our next event is due to be held in June, 24th of June. I genuinely, we obviously don't know what's going to happen, whether we're going to be allowed in-person events again by then or whether we're going to have to go virtual. So at the moment we're still planning to have an event, definitely going to have an event in June 24th. How that will look and where that will be, that's still to be decided, but tickets are available to sign up for free, and we'll keep people notified about how we're actually running the event nearer the time. So yeah, that's been my week for community events. So I actually ran my first YouTube streamed event this week, so I wanted to try that out. A lot of my colleagues, a lot of my peers, a lot of the community have been looking at streaming events, obviously because of the lockdown that we're all in at the moment. I wasn't sure if that platform's appropriate, don't know how it's going to work, but I actually fired up a stream and spent, I think, about 15-20 minutes talking about a new PC that I'm looking to build. So I just worked through that spec of PC that I'm looking to build and the parts that I'm going to be buying, and just wanted to see how it would be. From my point of view, as someone trying that stream out, it was fairly easy to set up on YouTube, making sure I had the settings right, etc. What really helped as well was I ran it through OBS, so I used I think it's called Open Broadcast software or service, to kind of set up all of my production, get my camera angles, get my microphone set up, and then I've got a stream deck as well. So I had those scenes set so that I could have that start screen, I could have the picture of me just talking to the webcam, I could share my screen. So I was using the stream deck to try and switch between all that, and I think it went fairly well. I think I had maybe 1 or 2 people watching me live at the time, but the video afterwards has actually got a number of views and a number of interests. So I've got a blog post as well that accompanied that video. So again, all of that content is available if anybody wants to geek out on what I'm looking to build for a new PC. So yeah, that was my first time at doing a streaming event. I'll probably look at doing some again. I've got a bit of a backlog of work to do, but I'm getting through it. And looking to start creating more content that I can present, either live stream, YouTube video, pre-recorded type video, or at user group events that people are holding. I'm running a poll at the moment on Twitter if anybody wants to contribute to the kind of ideas of content that you would like to see me present on. So yeah, get involved in that if you haven't already voted on that. And the last bit of news that I wanted to share is this week I got a new mobile phone. So my contract was due up, and I've kind of dithered around whether to order it or not over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and bit the bullet and did it. So I now have a Samsung S20, the 5G model. I've just got the S20. I haven't went to the Plus or the bigger size, purely because I've only got small hands and I wanted a phone that fitted quite well in the hand. I'm quite impressed. I've only been using the device for about 24 hours now. Quite impressed by it. The front camera is a lot better than my previous Samsung S9, so that's quite good. Obviously, I'm using it today to film, so hopefully the quality of this video is quite good. A couple of things that I'm not 100% sure on yet, but I'm sure I'll get to. With the S9, the fingerprint unlock was at the back of the phone, and I actually found that really quite handy, and it's quite good. This phone, this S20, has the fingerprint unlock on the screen, so that's taken a bit of getting used to, but to be honest, the facial recognition is actually working a lot better than the one on the S9, so I'm quite pleased that I'm actually not using the fingerprint as much to unlock my phone. This phone, the S20, doesn't have a 3.5mm headphone jack, which I always didn't want to have a phone that didn't have one, but now we're getting to the stage where most phones don't have it. It's got a USB-C connector at the bottom. A lot of my devices now have USB-C, and I've got a lot of charging cables, etc. So that's not an issue. I'm probably going to have to look at getting an adapter for USB to 3.5mm jack. I use that jack for using a lavalier microphone on my phone when I'm doing videos when I'm travelling or out and about. And I also use traditional headphones. You know, there was cabled headphones sometimes if I'm out and about and my battery's low or devices are low, etc. At the moment, obviously, I'm not travelling, not out and about as much, so it's not a major issue, but it's something that I'll probably have to look at purchasing and down the line. The other thing that I'm missing is on the S9, we had a little light that flashed for the notification, the LED notification light, so that if you weren't at your phone when a notification came up, the flashing light would tell you that something was there. This S20 doesn't seem to have that. It has lights that light, it has edge lighting that lights up when the notification or when the message comes, but it doesn't have a continuous kind of notification functionality for LED. So I'm missing that a little, but I'm sure I'll probably, if I do some research, there'll be someone somewhere that'll have created an app, or there'll be a feature or a setting inside the phone that I just haven't turned on and need to turn on. So I'll need to find that over the weekend and try and get that fixed, because I definitely do miss that feature at the moment as well. So yeah, that's me. That's been my week. No doubt I'll have forgotten something, but hopefully everybody's staying safe, staying sane, and I hope you have a good weekend, and I will catch you next week.